Hello and welcome to another work in progress on Dominium. This time we're looking at Boids, which is a 1980s algorithm for introducing emergent behaviour in flux of objects. It basically applies three simple rules: separation, which is making sure you've done local crowd mates; alignment, which basically steers an object towards the average heading of its local group of objects; and cohesion, which moves it towards the average position of its local objects. With these kind of behaviours you can set up flux, which can then basically fly around through and avoid other flock mates and flocks and even objects. The goal being to basically produce squadrons that can fly as a whole and attack a single neutral target, or split up and attack diverse targets as I see fit. And then that will evolve into pirate squadrons attacking you, or even fleet versus fleet. As you can see, we have a crowd of white and red Boids set up at the moment. So let's get them all going. So at the moment there's no particular steering behaviour has been applied other than to their own flock. Each flock, actually I'll describe this, sorry, each fleet, the red and white fleet, is made up of several flocks, and each flock has a flock leader. So the flock members are following the flock leader, and the flock leader is pretty much just bumbling around. And because they've got no particular goals, they're all more or less orbiting the origin there, like a little atom and the electron zipping around it. If we introduce some obstacles for them to avoid, you can see how it immediately changes their behaviour in where they fly. So now they're all avoiding the black spheres. They've got quite a large avoidance radius. I think it's twice the radius of the sphere. Okay, so if I bring up the flock to flock, so as you can see now we've got little circles. That's showing the average position and the average heading of each flock. So you can see there this little red group has got an average heading pointing where the line is pointing in direction of travel. But at the minute they've got no other goal other than to just wander around, avoid obstacles, avoid themselves, and kind of head on the average position and heading of the flock leader. So that's given us something to do. We can now target flocks to flocks. So now the connecting lines show a flock targeting another flock, and they'll only target an enemy team. So red will target white and white will target red. This has obviously made it far more dynamic as I zip around. If I switch off the obstacles, you can see the behaviour change again. So now they've got nothing to avoid other than each other. Bring that back in again. Now if we introduce shooting, so now the Boids will shoot at each other when they've got a line on target, and eventually the Boid will die and respawn somewhere outside the environment and then rejoin its flock mates, which hopefully we should see happen in a moment. And somebody gets, there you go, one's just appeared at the top there, and off we go. So this changes the emergent behaviour of the entire fleet versus fleet action that's going on at the minute, as attrition steps in and so forth. If all that wasn't respawning, obviously one fleet would win over time. So there's some very simple rules, and this is at the minute, I think there's about 4 or 5 being applied. You can see that the behaviour that you get is quite, I'd say realistic, but it's certainly going to be fun enough to be in the middle of this, attacking targets being attacked by various squadrons. There'll be various AI rules applied on top of this, so a squadron, the flight leader might decide to disperse the flock, and they'll all fly off on their own targets and attack their own targets, so they're completely disparate behaviours. And then he might say, right, regroup, and they'll all fly back towards each other and attack his target. They can also go to the aid of each other, so if one flock member is being pummelled by another enemy target, then the other flock might target the attacker, and so on. These are just extra layers you can add in. You can make it as complex as you like, and the goal is just to make it fun. So I'll be doing lots of tweaking of these behaviours as time goes by, and we'll see how it pans out. The next step is to integrate this into DOM. Fingers crossed that goes well, it should do. Right, thank you for watching, and maybe next time we'll be seeing this actually in action in Dominium. Thank you.